After what seems like months or even years, the EV credit is finally something that's coming into light. Up to $10,000 off the cost of a Tesla makes it more and more and more affordable, which is a huge thing. And it's a huge thing to swing, kind of the pendulum towards the EV revolution. That begs the question, should I buy now? Should I wait for the new battery? Or should I just buy now because I know I'm gonna have to wait now? You're up to 6 months before you're gonna get any Tesla that you pick out. And that's outside of supply shortages, chip shortages, any of that stuff. And then you look back on it and you say, after a year of having the car, is it really worth it? Now I'm gonna be giving an honest review here, talking about range, talking about cost to repair, talking about the cost of the tires, and the issues I've had with the service center. So sit back, relax. You guys are watching The Tall Tesla Guy. So starting right into this EV credit, people are super excited about it, and it's a big deal. It's something they've been talking about forever. Now, they used to have it with Teslas. Tesla and GM were the only companies that were able to use the EV credit, the old one, and actually outsell the cars that required you to keep into it. So Tesla dropped out of the EV credit back in 2018, and GM wasn't too far to follow. Now, Tesla is the #1 producer of EVs, electric vehicles, in the world. Not just in the United States, in the world. Now, it may seem like kind of small numbers because EVs only represent less than 10% of the total vehicles sold, but Tesla owns the lion's share of that, which is a huge thing. And it's part of Elon's mission to kind of push the world towards sustainable energy, the EV revolution, that sort of thing. So it makes sense that Tesla would be kind of, piloting the helm on that ship, which is good. However, Tesla was excluded from this EV credit because they sold so many cars, because the EV credit had expired for them. So what happened recently is they started the EV talks again. And now what it sounds like is Tesla drivers, Tesla owners, new Tesla purchasers are actually gonna be able to get up to $10,000 off the cost of their car. Now, it's not a credit that comes when you buy it. A lot of people are confused with that. When you go to the dealership, go to the showroom, the Tesla showroom, and you buy your Tesla Model Y long range with standard features and you pay $53,000 for it, you're not gonna get $10,000 off of that so that your loan's only for $43,000. What you get is a tax credit for the $10,000. Now, it's still a big deal. It'll still help out a lot, and it'll offset other expenses you might have, that sort of thing. But it's a huge thing. Now, if you buy a car that's from a unionized factory, you're actually going to get more of a credit. But Tesla's not a unionized factory, though it is American made, so it does benefit from that. So it starts out at $7,500 and then another $2,500 for being American made. So up to $10,000. So this is a huge thing. They've been talking about it, like I said, forever. And it became something that kind of sat on the floor. The House floor, the Senate floor never made it through, but it seems like it's actually going to happen now, which is great. And it's a good thing if you haven't already bought it. Now, that was the problem, or the caveat before, was that it wasn't retroactive. But now they're talking about that it will be. Now, not retroactive forever, but maybe 6 months, a year. I'd take that if you bought it within the calendar year, so 2021, and then the bill is passed in 21. Either way, it's a good thing to have, and it's a good thing to happen, and it's a good thing that's going to kind of, push people over the edge to actually convert to the EV, which is great. And it's a great thing for the mission, the sustainable energy mission. But it kind of led me into a couple other things. Like looking back in the car, you guys know if you've watched any of my other videos, I love Teslas. I've wanted a Tesla since they first came out. Now, I was never going to get a Roadster, but I wanted the Model S when it first came out, nearly 10 years ago. It was also something that I couldn't afford or couldn't get at that point. So when the Model 3 came out and then the Model Y, it was something that I jumped on as soon as I could. So it was a huge thing for me, and it was an exciting thing, and I love it. I love the car. I love our situation in that I can charge it at home. We don't take a lot of road trips, and most people don't. And if you look at your driving, your travel time, I'd say 85% of the time it's just driving around town. Some people drive 15% of the time on road trips, so that's something you got to consider. So talking about that, looking at my experience, I wanted to start out by saying I love it. However, there are a few things to think about. And this is kind of the honest dive-in opinion review on it. Love the car. I haven't had fit and finish issues like some people did. However, that's something to consider. If you're really particular on fit and finish issues, you're not going to love your Tesla. I've yet to find one that's 100%, perfect. However, I will say that show me any other car by any other manufacturer that's 100% perfect, and I'll buy you lunch, right? It's one of those things that just doesn't happen. Now, Tesla isn't known for really precise manufacturing. There's so much in the technology of the car, the battery of the car, that a lot of times they stamp the panels and maybe they just don't fit. Now, the service center will fix them as best they can, assuming they're not within spec, but people talk about it all the time. However, that becomes one of the things that deters people from buying a Tesla. And I can tell you right out the gate, everybody that I know that has a Tesla, including myself, never had any issues with it, never had any fit and finish issues. And I think that the majority of the ones that you find, whether you watch YouTube videos, you go online and do some research, watch reviews or anything like that, represent a smaller portion of the audience, of the Tesla audience, than people think. And unfortunately, it kind of puts a shadow on Tesla in general. Whereas I'll say everything's been great. Like, we got lucky, maybe, who knows? But then everybody I've talked to gotten lucky too, as far as the fit and finish issues. But that kind of led me to a couple of other things. With a Tesla, just like any other EV, you need to think about where you're going to charge it. Are you charging it at home? Are you taking advantage of Tesla's vast supercharging network? Do you have another place that you have to charge it? If you can't charge it anywhere, then it's a really big consideration. Now, Tesla superchargers are everywhere, but I live in a major metropolitan area and we only have two superchargers. Now, they're probably going to get more, but right now they don't, right? And there's 2 supercharger stations for 5,000 gas stations probably in the same area. So that is something to consider. Don't let anybody fool you. The supercharging network is amazing, and it's the fastest supercharging network you're ever going to see with any other EV. However, it is something to consider. You get about 300 miles of range, which is plenty. Mind you, it's plenty. Even if you're speeding, you're going fast, it's hot, cold, that kind of stuff that people talk about all the time. 275 is what I got on my range test on an average day driving normally, I guess, quote unquote normally. But in my gas vehicle, even though I get the same exact range, under 300 miles, it's not very good in that sense, there's gas stations everywhere. Not talking about the cost of gas or anything like that. There's gas stations everywhere, so I can fill it up wherever I need to, wherever I want to. However, with my Tesla, if I couldn't charge at home, it's harder to kind of change your mindset a little bit to get that charging taken care of. It's not as convenient. Something to consider. It's 100% not a deterrent though, right? Because I'll tell you, I do charge at home, but even when we went on a road trip, there was a supercharger there. The navigation system in the car routes you towards the superchargers. But if you live in a remote area without superchargers, you don't have the ability to charge at home, you got to figure that out. So that's actually something to really, really, really consider. Now, touching on the fit and finish of the car, we got super lucky with ours, maybe, or maybe that's just how it is. We didn't have major problems. However, I did get a flat tire. Now, I've gotten flat tires in my gas vehicles too, so that's nothing unique to Tesla by any means. However, the cost of the tire was about $300 to replace it. And I had a screw in it, but I looked at the other tires also, and after a year, I was down to 4/32, right? And this is about 10,000 miles. Now, I don't race or anything like that, race anybody. I probably had a couple rabbit starts maybe, but in reality, I drive it the same as my gas vehicle. And my gas vehicle, I'll get about 40,000 miles on the tires. But I'm probably going to get 20 on these Tesla tires. So that seems like it's about average. Now, the EVs are heavier. They have that instant torque, that instant acceleration that you don't have in a gas vehicle. So it's going to burn through tires faster. But it wasn't something I thought about in the beginning. So it's just something to keep in mind, something to consider. And then on top of that, really those particular tires with the foam filled, you have to go to the service center in Tesla to get them. If you're not near a service center, if you don't want to deal with that, that might be a consideration. Now, you can replace all 4 tires with just about any tire now, right? As long as it matches the size. I know Michelin makes one. You can get them at Tire-Rama. You can get them at Tire Rack. Midas even sells them. So that's not an issue like it used to be. You don't have to use the Tesla tires, but I didn't want to buy brand new tires. I didn't want to buy a whole new set of tires. Now, I will say if you have the performance Tesla, it doesn't come with all-weather tires. It doesn't come with all-season tires. It's really summer performance tires. So you're going to have to get a new set anyway. So if that's the direction you're going, it might not be an issue. Me, it was just a surprise. Not so much an issue, a surprise. But that leads into the service center visits. People talk about or complain that the service center situations or service center visits are a mess. I would say or argue that that's going to be a similar situation no matter where you go. I've yet to go to a service center where they, one, wanted to give me the time to talk about my issues or had the time to even do it, understood what I was talking about when I went in there, gave me a price that I thought I was happy to pay. I mean, all that stuff sounds like a farce anyway. So my experience with the Tesla service center was on par with any other service center I've been to. In fact, almost better because they have a mobile service. So when we replaced the tire, I went in there. They actually gave us a loaner car, which was great. And then when they got the new tire in, it was on our car, and they showed up at our house with their mobile service truck. They jacked the car up, changed the tire, in fact, fixed something else that was on the car that was going on, and then they were gone. I didn't have to go anywhere for that. In fact, they gave me the loaner car, so I didn't have to, I kind of lucked out in that situation too. They also give Uber credits and stuff like that too. Now, people talk about how, months at the service center, the price was crazy. Teslas are not cheap to fix, and parts are hard to find. So I would go into the situation with that in mind, but you're going to find that with anything. We ordered a part for our Jeep Wrangler, which is American made, all this kind of thing, been around for 100 years, and it's still going to be over 2 weeks to get it. So this is something that is not unique. It is not a unicorn type of car, and they're having part shortages just the same. And my service experience there was about on par with what I had at Tesla. So don't let that be a deterrent for you or something that scares you away. All in all, our experience has been fantastic. Like I said in the beginning, I was an early adopter on Teslas anyway. My wife quickly kind of built that excitement for Tesla as we started driving it around, really enjoys the car now, and then our baby loved it from the beginning. That panoramic glass roof, I can't say enough about it. Now we have the Tesla Model Y, like we said, the long range edition, and it's got that just roof that goes all the way back for days, and it's just an amazing view. It's almost like you're in a convertible, which is fantastic. So let me know in the comments below. Is there anything that you guys are running into? Anything that you guys are seeing? Or are you still on the fence? You're not sure whether or not you should take that plunge and jump into the EV revolution or not. But either way, I hope you guys are having a fantastic month, year, week so far, and that you're able to kind of put a smile on your face, whether it's from these videos or any other video that you're watching. But I hope you guys are staying safe out there. Thanks for watching, everybody.